Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's another episode of Talk Visual 305. We're coming to you live from downtown Homestead. We just want to say good morning to you all out there in our listening land. And we wanted to say, listen, we missed you guys. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for liking and subscribing. We see our numbers climbing. We wanted to say, you know what? We love you too. So Julio, what you got for me, brother?
Well, we got a lot of cool things going on in the city of Homestead. We're going to touch on a few different topics. And we want to get into a little bit about what is going on in your business, what's going on in my business, and we're also going to talk about what's going on in the city of Homestead and how it's continuing to grow.
Right.
So tell me, AT&T, you told me a little while ago,
150 year anniversary, man.
150
Kudos
years.
to the Bell and and all the changes over the years that it's made and the technology shift. And we're always pioneering. They're forecast like 5 to 10 years out.
Okay.
Let that sink in for a minute. When you're thinking of it today and what you're gonna do tomorrow, they're thinking 5 to 10 years away from today. And the technology, considering from way back when the government they dropped that technology. It was I wouldn't say you could call it a monopoly back then.
Right.
Then you have the Bell, Pacific Bell, Bell Atlantic, Alexander Bell.
Yeah.
Way back when.
Alexander Graham Bell.
Alexander Graham Bell. And simply from there, the Bell South, the Singular to AT&T, now to us, now AT&T again. It's been a journey, man. It's been a lot of great things that came out. We've been a part of all the different changes. They've been a part of the Time Warner, the Direct TVs, all of the even some other platform. I think even CNN was under their umbrella of sorts under a certain point because they're under Time Warner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as part of their portfolio of things, where it stands today, it's different now. But we're always out there. My challenge right now I'm having at my locations is trying to replenish because for those who are moving on for schools or happen to be relocating for their families to different places, we're looking for a few good men and women. You know what I mean? We have the 401k option, we have the dental vision option. We have all these benefits available to these up and comers. We have our own university. We send you through for training, and it's a tech business, so it's a fun business. Everyone has technology at home or at work or even on their persons.
So you're hiring a few good men and women.
We
You're
are
currently hiring.
Yeah,
That's great.
And we will train you, man. All we want you to do is have the will to get up, the will to do the right thing. And we'll drop the knowledge in your ear and be willing to, accept the fact that, you're coming in, you don't know much, but we're gonna drop some crumbs in your ear.
Demetrius, we have all of these great, successful people that come on this podcast and tell us about their journeys and their careers. Sometimes people may want to know about our journeys and specifically with yours.
Yeah.
Out of all of the tech companies that are out there, you decided to pursue AT&T rather than all of the other tech companies.
Right.
Why did you decide AT&T? And for a person out there thinking about maybe having an authorized dealer in one of the tech companies, what can you tell them and how can you guide them through that process if they're thinking of doing that?
Well, almost 30 years ago, when Bell South Mobility, at the time, they gave you could have been a multi-dealer or you could have had a sub-dealer, which is another dealer under your umbrella as well. And they give you the ability to be exclusive to them and the benefits of being exclusive. And when you look at the portfolio of the other dealers and the proximity that they were providing, there were, 200 feet rule approximate, 3 mile radius from the other dealer. It gave you room to grow.
Okay.
And it also, they stood behind you or with you as a partner that allowed you to feed your family and be able to expand. When as new spaces were opening up, they were never opposed to something good coming online, as long as they're in alignment with you. So as far as what made me stay is the loyalty. I'm a loyal guy. You know what I mean? I bleed blue in that way. I simply once I attach, once I say I run with you, like on the streets they say another word, but once once you run with that person, I'm true to the end. You know what I mean? I live, breathe, and this is what this company awarded me the life I have and the business that I'm able to. My family are able to do a lot of great things through it. So I'm loyal to the cause.
Let me understand how these stores pop up in neighborhoods, because the general public doesn't really understand the difference between corporate stores and authorized dealers. Right? You just see an AT&T sign, and you're going to go in there and get service.
Right.
But the service is way better. For example, when I go to your store,
Right.
I get service that I will never ever get at any other store. And that's what I want to tell the audience, that if you happen to go in to a store of an authorized dealer with an owner that really puts forth customer service and instills that in his entire team, the experience you're going to have is way better than wherever you're going to get in another store.
And I agree with that. I believe in the fact of like a mom and pop, right? You got to go to the local restaurant, a mom and pop restaurant side versus a box store or one of those chain versions of it, you know. Not knocking them. The mom and pop have a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in it, a little different. They bleed different because they're responsible for everything too. And they're the small guys, regardless of the brand that's, partnership.
Yeah.
They also have to worry about all the different elements of the business. So they respect it more, it hurts more. At the end, the brand doesn't really lose.
Okay.
If it's their own, they have much more challenges because then, they're having to pay their own people to do certain things, and they have unions and other stuff. As the dealer did, we don't have unions as such, so we can just go forward and do the things that's necessary to be done, under their, supervision that is. But what makes it different from the other? I mean, it's just a matter of the human.
But how do you know that there's a difference?
Well, there's writing on the doors, and there's writing on the wall, and the attitude and the energy. You can see it there. It says it on the door of it being this company name that represent, and it says it on the receipts and such, and all the other places. At the end of the day, we're all here to service the customer, right? We service the customer to the best of our abilities. They come through the door, we kill them with kindness. I'm from the old school of great customer service. I believe in your word is what, your word is bond. That's a tough thing to do today, to keep, because you tell somebody says something to you and they go 12 places and they possibly won't come back.
Understood.
So me keeping it clean to make sure that, I'm not touching on any subject that's going to violate any agreements.
So I've got a two-part question now.
Yes.
When you initially started and you wanted to open your first store, because you have multiple stores, right?
Yes.
So my first question is, what did you do to initially start? And second, is the blueprint in success with authorized dealers to take over an entire market or an entire city so that they are all your stores?
Right. Well, that's not everyone's plan, but I hope it should be everyone's plan. I mean, when you go into business and they always want to see you growing.
Yeah.
And if the market you get into is a growing market, then therefore they want you to have more than one door. So when you get a location and the location becomes successful, the goal from there is to scale.
Okay.
Or you will have competition that's not yours.
Got it.
If I'm going to compete, I'd rather compete against my own location than compete against another location in the area, which kind of muddy up things because we're fighting for the same carrot. So my thing is the goal for most companies to get to 5 to 10 and beyond. Some of them have 2,000, some have 2,500, some have 1,500. The dealer channel is larger than the corporate channel. One dealer is larger than the whole corporate company.
Got it.
So they exist for whatever purpose and their unions as such. Whereas the other way around, we can go forth and do great things following the umbrella of AT&T. At the end of the day, AT&T is the one that's the brand itself. It's a great brand, great 150 years worth of it. I loved every moment of it. I will do this for free. I'll put it on the record, you know what I mean? I love doing what I do, and that's the reason why I'm still in the game. A lot of my friends and persons that came on with me, or not with me, but came on, they left the game for a lot of different reasons. Because again, they came in, they were looking to make a buck because they were told they could make a quick buck back when. And that buck came when we were doing beepers and phones and things. Yeah. And that time has shifted. But technology will always be around. What else you got?
So let's say a person has managed to save $50,000 liquid in the bank, excellent credit, and they want to open their first store. Is there a path? And if so, what are some of the things that they ought to look for in terms of a lease and a location?
Well, I think also, first, a great action plan, right? You want to formulate that. And if you're going to go back then, you needed to have at least 6 months of inventory or rent in the bank. So whatever your rent is, you need at least 6 months of it in there, just to start off. Then inventory. Back then, you used to have to purchase your inventory, every phone, every color, size, and model.
Okay, so it's a large capital investment
1,000%
out the gate.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
Today, it's based strictly on a credit line, obviously based on,
So if you've got good credit, you got a pretty good path.
Today, it's based differently now. It's on a consignment, actually, now. Before and that became recent in the last 3 years, 3 to 4, maybe 5 years at max, where it's now consigned. Back then, you used to have to spend a couple $100,000 a month to furnish inventory, because a phone, the average phone today is about $1,000.
So we say consignment, it's like a loan.
Correct, a consignment. They fill the order, and your job is to, with protection, to sell it.
Right, but we're already on the corporate side of having store, but you want a location where it's high visibility,
right.
Like
a location that is high visibility. Back when, and I say back when, it's because of length of time. Back in the day, you used to go in the plaza, sit there for about a week, and check the traffic pattern Monday through Saturday, or Monday through Sunday.
So you would literally sit in your car and just checking?
Yeah, just to see how...
Different hours of the day.
Different hours of the day. You would spend a week or so just doing that to see what does a Saturday look like? What does the 6 o'clock traffic look like? Why? Because it's giving you... it's helping you for staffing. It's helping you to see whether or not it's a plaza that's fruitful. Fruitful meaning all you need is the opportunity for somebody to walk in your door. If the plaza's an empty, predominantly empty plaza, then you don't want to kind of instill your store there. Even saying that today, that was not my idea of yesterday. My idea of yesterday is I wanted to be in a plaza where I could sustain myself away from the big box store. Why? Because if they pull out of the plaza, I still needed to sustain myself. 99% of my colleagues probably would have said, no, I needed to be next to a big box store and let them help me carry the weight of the marketing, help me carry the weight of the traffic flow. I like to be almost like a standalone in that regard, because if I can weather that storm like a cactus, then nothing seemed to waver.
So you didn't necessarily want to be next to a Publix, a Walmart, a Home Depot,
back then,
a Knowles. Back
then didn't care to be, because they were going to plaza, sign either own it or sign long-term lease, that is, and then they would pull out. And if they pull out of that lease or decide to move, here it is that you're there, now you're stuck.
Yeah.
And I've been in in the Key Largo area, been in there for almost over 25 plus years.
Okay.
In the Trade and the Pink Plaza, there's
a Publix there.
There is where I'm at now. In the other plaza, there was the Winn-Dixie.
Okay.
Winn-Dixie was there. Winn-Dixie was at the end of the plaza. First, there was West Marine. West Marine wanted to get more space, so they pushed everyone down, either move or give me more space. So they gave them more space, pushing everyone down to the end. But before them, there was a Winn-Dixie in there. Then Winn-Dixie says, hey, we're going to go build our own spot. Leaving us
high and dry.
We're you're now stuck with a term of lease where the main anchor is gone.
Right. So the traffic
died.
Almost non-existent.
Non-existent. So if a person had to have a reason to come and see you, of all carriers.
And that's where the customer service
That's where the great customer service, that's the ground, boots on the ground. That's where they're making the phone calls. That's where, hey, we can make this. That's where you're outside with the human directionals. Right. That's where you out there door knockings. That's where you can sustain yourself to kind of avoid those feelings that you've had when that major box pulled out. So I've always been of the mindset, I'm like a cactus.
Got it.
Doesn't matter the temperature, the weather, what it is. If it's a building, if I put my store there, we were built to survive. Like we are now in the damn Homestead Station. We've been there for 6 years. I have a 7-year lease there 7 years ago.
Wow.
And we're still the first and only one there on the front line of that Homestead Station fighting the good fight.
So you really have to question if you're going to renew.
That's the ultimate question.
That you got to go home and say, hey, is this something we want to continue? Mm-hmm. Now, when you said now that they've changed the structure and it's a lot easier because it's based on credit.
It's a credit I guess you can call it that a line of consignment is the term we use.
Okay.
It's a credit, but they call it consignment.
So that opens the doors for you to say, you know what, I want to scale another 10 stores,
right.
right?
But then you have no life.
I see. I see.
So that
you're a
10
slave to...
right, because initially in the beginning I had
But you don't look, with the number of stores, by the way,
Right.
you've got 6 or 7 stores.
6.
You got 6 stores. You seem to have a pretty chill life.
I because I was forced to.
Or because you put good management in place as well.
Correct. I was forced to because at the end of the day, if you have a family, it's built for typically back then. If you're young and up and coming and you and the wife or you and your husband just working through the process, 7 days a week.
Okay.
Hitting the pavement. Then you get staffing. And then with good staffing allows you the flexibility to pull the throttles back and enjoy a little bit of family life. But family grows up fast, and just like this, our son went from 0 to 24, and you're like, oh, what happened? He's like, well, while you were building a business, life didn't stop for you.
Well, you've got a large number of employees because
Yep.
each store has 5 to 7.
So we have 4 to 9.
4 to 9 employees. So you multiply that times 6. You're changing lives.
Yeah, that is true.
At least 50
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
rely on the stores to provide for their families.
Yeah.
And you're hiring more now.
And we were hiring more now.
I think there's a lot of people out there that want to pursue that dream.
Well, if you're into tech, because we don't just train you in customer service, we don't just train you in sales. We train you in marketing, we train you in management, and we train you as to how to etiquette of things because in tardiness, all of these things you have to be good at in order to sustain yourself in our world. Because you're showing up late, your etiquette is off par, your dress attire is not in uniform. We mold you in or out of those things.
Got it. So what about the person that wants to be the owner operator?
Well,
Because you just told us about employees and how you train employees
Right.
that are interested in tech. What if that person's out there says, hey man, I got some money, I got good credit, I'd like to be an owner of an AT&T
Authorized dealer.
authorized dealer.
So, the process is complicated now because as once were in the past. In the past, you needed an action plan and you needed to have some insights of what you're doing and you needed to submit to one of the powers that be, the VPGM or the vice president of the area, to see whether or not he's taken on any new clients, any new dealers, any new persons that's in this space.
Okay.
Today, it's a way different world. Today, it's no longer we need any more people. Today is now, it's kind of like a moratorium.
Got it.
If
There's
you
a
want-
moratorium
you-
on more stores because
So you want it,
there's
you got
plenty
to
of
buy this
inventory.
guy or have the opportunity to purchase someone out to get in. Like South Florida is such a hotbed that a lot of the other dealers from around the country would like to be in this area, but they can't because they're restricting the amount of dealers in the area, like oversaturated. You know what I mean? So you would need to have a great action plan, and you would have to speak with the director and see if somebody's willing to sell.
Well, let me give you an example. Back then, or back in the day, Walmart, they were opening stores all throughout the country.
Right.
And when they would acquire a parcel of land, they would show you on their website where they were going to develop that Walmart, and then they would have these sub parcels where other people would purchase and develop strip centers. So like you were saying before, the anchor is Walmart bringing all these people in. So whoever got into the strip mall right next to Walmart would typically do pretty well because there was an influx of people coming every single day.
Right.
So a strategy, if I were thinking about getting into becoming an authorized dealer, I'd say, man, a good plan would be follow Walmart where they're being developed, find out who's doing the strip mall there, and try to get into at least in those particular centers wherever Walmart is developing their stores.
Right, but that also is based on the distance between you from the other dealer. So even though Walmart might be next door, that doesn't necessarily mean you get to be there because you may be 200 feet away from a dealer that's been there without the Walmart.
Okay.
So a lot of planning has to be involved. When you look at their map, they say, okay, yes, you want to, we agree with that. However, unfortunately, the demographic doesn't support two of you there. Why have the cannibalism of the same kind?
And unless you were going to live in that area, you can't just, it's not like real estate where you're going to buy a piece of property, get it fixed up, rent it, and then come back home.
Right.
No, you got to be there to work that
Right.
if you want to be successful.
Right. It's all performance driven. So if you simply it becomes organic and an autopilot once you have good food or good service and the person likes you, because now there's so many different areas for a person to go to kind of get service, good or bad. And what makes the difference between you versus them is really strictly based on your attitude, your customer service ability, and what they see when they walk through the door.
Okay.
You know why? That's like realtors, right? There are a billion realtors out
Right.
there, and why should I give you my business versus the other guy when we're doing the same thing?
So the people that do or that are interested in applying to work at one of your stores, where do they go? Where do you?
Well,
where do you
first
post for
we
jobs?
have advanced cellular is an option. You can actually go on to info.advance.com.
Is that where you post the jobs?
Or Indeed. We're also on Indeed
Indeed.
as well. We're heavily on Indeed right now looking. We typically would prefer somebody who doesn't have the wireless background. We prefer them to come in clean slated.
So they learn
We
how
can
to
mold
do it
them
your
easily
way.
versus trying to break good or bad habits. That 22 days of pounding and ground and pound is mainly could be based on something new going in versus something that you need to correct. And correction of I used to do it this way
Got it.
versus I've never done it at all and I'm learning it.
Got it.
So we prefer. That doesn't mean we exempt those that that has knowledge or experience. Back in the day, that's almost a given, right? I need the person with that experience. Well, typically, a person's experience, you run into those challenges.
Now, do you keep tabs on what the competition's doing, like the T-Mobiles, the Verizons,
Yes, I do.
the Metros?
We do. We have. It's important for us to know what our competition is doing because we're in the same space type. Now, given they may not be a direct utility company because Bell South, AT&T Singular, we're a utility company.
You can bring fiber, you can bring cable,
Correct.
you can do
We cut in the ground, and that doesn't mean that they don't have a facet or percentage of it too coming in and up now, because they all may have some version of internet, but very few of them have the ability to do what AT&T has done with fiber example, where it's the same speed up and down. It's glass, it's underground, or it's above the ground on the pole setting. But most importantly, we've been around when you had a brick phone, when you go offshore and the drive to Tugas and you get signal.
Okay.
We
Right.
remember back in the day, and whenever there was a storm, they would call out to us, the first responders. We have the cow, the cellular on wheels, where they bring out these towers, mobile, to make sure that we sustain that. Direct TV, power's off, you got a battery pack, you can still watch your TV from your phone.
Every time somebody asks me, hey, they're in an area that doesn't have much signal,
Right.
and they go, hey, who do you got? You got Verizon, T-Mobile? I go, no, I got AT&T. She goes, you got signal? I have no signal. I go, I got bars.
You got bars.
I got bars here. So if there's an operator, a person that wants to get into, becoming an owner operator, and they're going to think, okay, which brand is the best? First, they're going to look at statistics on how many users, and I'm sure that data is out there. And then what are the margins on what you're selling? That data all has to be analyzed for a person to say, well, this is the best brand because they're paying the best.
Right.
And do they fluctuate their margins without giving you a heads up?
Well, they do give you a heads up. They tell you in advance what changes are being made. They make changes, they modify based on what's happening. They have incentive, they have checkpoints, stuff going on. They have a base and then checkpoint. As far as them doing their homework and finding out which brand works best for you based on what you're looking to have your model be. AT&T's been around 150 years.
Yep, we were celebrating that anniversary today, right?
Right. Well, now this is where this year has been their 150th anniversary. How many other companies can tell you that they've been around? I remember when PrimeCo and OmniPoint was around. Before there was Verizon, there was.
I don't even remember those names.
OmniPoint, right?
OmniPoint, PrimeCo.
Yeah, we used to, back then they had a little Martian called Demetrius, the little Martian, and you go way back from the beginning of it, and we used to program our phones manually.
Wow.
So we used to have maybe $1.50 a minute.
Okay.
And you used to get like 50 minutes in analog. Remember the analog technology?
Yeah.
The brick phones used to be walking around, and the beepers that you put a turn on and put 143 or.
Okay. Well, look, I'm part of the the Apple cult, right? When it comes to mobile stuff.
You notice I have two phones here?
Yeah, I noticed you have two phones, and I was just going to ask you about that because on a desktop computer, I'm still a Windows guy, but anything that's mobile, it's all Apple products, right? So I'm sure that you get people that walk into your stores that are just Apple and that are just Android, and you happen to have both of them. What can you tell us that are some features that you go, wow, this really is the top of the top when it comes to features on a mobile device when you're comparing the two?
Well, just off the rip, we sell both products. They have a relationship with Apple and Samsung.
Yeah.
And the comp structure is the same for either or. So it doesn't matter if we sell an Apple, it doesn't matter if we sell an Android. It's across the board. So it's more of the comfort of the sales associate and it's the comfort of the person. Typically, Apple followers doesn't seem to always. It's a new device, but you're not learning a new technology almost, right?
That's me, right?
So with a new phone, you still got pretty much the same stuff. They add a few things like little crumbs in there, little features as to kind of make some minor changes. Change the cable. Back then, you used to maybe change the earpod or make the speaker, the Bluetooth feature a little better back when. Now, Android is very unique. Developers in Android have a lot more apps or as much apps as any other because they allow, in what I've been told, they allow the developers to, if Julio is a developer and he has an app idea, they will allow him to run with that idea on an Android.
What they call open source.
Open source, pretty much. Apple said pay me. There's only one bite in that apple.
The logo says it all, right?
It's in the logo, but I mean, under the same token, it's more of a personal preference. Remember when BlackBerry was around?
Yeah.
Everybody liked BlackBerry for its platform because of BBM.
Yeah.
Instant Messenger, right? Just like two-way radios.
It was easy to email also.
And it was very direct. It was kind of like WhatsApp today.
Yeah.
It's private. They use it in a lot of spaces, a lot of, important places. They use their platform. It was private. iMessages is similar, right?
Okay.
To that, the messaging is, same. It's private. Apple's very strict with, privacy rules. And not that Android isn't. They both are. WhatsApp is very good on both platforms.
Okay.
So, I like Samsung for the photos and pictures, in my opinion.
Okay.
I like Apple for simplicity. I don't have to learn nothing new even if it's a new device. I'm not really learning much new. A very few minor changes. Android always 5-6 years, like this phone can charge. This is the fold.
The flip phone.
The flip phone. This is the fold. This is the Fold 3 or Fold 7. Sorry. This one here, the screen, you can kind of turn it around, Phil, and you can charge your phone on top of it. It has a lot of unique features that Apple has not touched yet. Even they haven't. This is a fold. Okay. They haven't come out with a fold phone yet. So if you're going to be one from the other, you're going to look at it as what is it you're looking for? What brings you into the store? What do you need your phone to do for you? Julio, well, this can do spreadsheet. I can do Excel. I can do Word. I can do my whole presentation. You name it.
So you teach your employees about all of those devices?
Well, they have to know. They're the professional. So part of the whole training process is to learn about the product. They have to take the class on each device, each new change that comes out, and may be able to speak it to sale. Because what happens, the customer comes in, and they don't know what they want most of the time. I'm here because I'm leaving my provider because they did this to me, and I'm unhappy because of this. I want to get a plan equivalent to what I had. But I want something that is going to allow me to do this. Mr. Customer, let's run through what the day-to-day life look like for you.
Okay.
I have this. I'm a realtor. I need a catalog. Remember when we used to have some memory cards and you insert them into the phones, and I used to have a billion
SIM card.
A SIM card, right? And I had 250 numbers on that. That's the max that could have hold back then. And back then you could have only put a number. Today you can put the name, the number, the photo, a ringtone, your address, your notes, all in that customer's profile. So technology is shifting faster, but they don't work well, in my opinion, better in buildings. The frequency is higher, harder to penetrate.
And do you get to select the products that you want to hold and you want to sell? Or you got to sell this catalog?
We have the catalog. You sell it all.
Okay.
Because what happened if you have a child and you want to have a special phone for your youngster, back when we used to have what's called a Firefly, which is the little phone that's made for the child. Today we have the other versions of a Firefly, which allows you to have your daughter or son with a phone, and it only has mom and dad in there or whoever you program, and it's good for safety reasons too. You know what I mean? Now we also have the little tiles that you can put in their backpacks and to make sure that you can track them, and also you have the apps now. You can do a little bit more tracking. What else you got tech-wise?
The last question I had was.
So you can get really. It can be boring or it can be fun. Depends on which field side of the conversation you fall in with tech.
Who's winning the sales, Apple or Samsung?
I believe the fifth.
Across the board. Is the Apple cult winning or is the Samsung cult winning?
It's a 50-50 mark,
Well, I think it depends also on the geographic area that you're in.
I mean, I'll say this in my opinion. Apple does a very good job at marketing.
Yeah.
No matter when Apple make the announcement, everyone in the world seems to pause during September of every year. Once they make the phone announcement, the frenzy begins. Our holiday season begins typically, in my opinion, when Apple speaks. Apple speaks around September, and then the season begins. When Samsung releases their product, it's different.
It's a different strategy.
It's a different marketing release process. They do a good job for what they were, but Apple just seemed to have the knack.
Okay.
They have the hook.
Well, that's what made them famous, from their presentations and introducing new products to the world, really put them on the map. So
it's amazing how they took an AirPod and put a cell phone in it, and because the word that they were going out, that they were AirPods and stuff, wasn't no more of a thing. Remember when we went from the Walkman, then they put a Walkman, then they decided, well, let's put cell phone.
You're probably sitting on some antique stuff from way back when that is probably worth a lot of good money now.
What you talking about, Willie?
Because I know those original AirPods, they're selling on eBay for thousands of dollars.
Yeah, they're out there, and just like the brick phones and such, what's old sometimes become new, but I don't think we'll go back to those. But it's a good catalog to keep. You don't ever know what the future holds as far as what the value of them. I'm sure it's going to be worth something. I mean, we can go on for hours because everybody at some point has a cell phone and they have a cell phone story. Some people have beeper stories. Today, can you see yourself leaving home without one?
Right.
Can you?
No. And the minute you do leave without one, you'll know instantly before you get to the stop sign. You're like, oh, I forgot my phone. Let me turn around.
Now, I'll tell you what. I've left home many times without my wallet.
Yeah, me too.
I've turned back around for my cell phone.
Yeah.
And I've stayed gone.
Because you can get somewhere and just use Apple Pay.
So I've used the phone. So as a whole, I love what I do. I love the brand that I represent. Like I said, it's not work for me. I do it because I like the team of guys and girls I have around me that we've developed as, now they're my family. You know what I mean? Those are my work family crew. We tend to keep them close to the vest. We do a lot of team building stuff. At least when we can, right? We go bowling, we go canoeing. We went to the Heat game. I've kind of taken them in the +1 to a Heat game, and as one of many things. The canoeing stuff there, just a lot of fun things. You work hard, we play hard is a term we use. But most importantly, when you walk through the door, I wanted to look good, smell good, and get the great service, because what's going to make a difference is the individual you touch. That's really what at Team Advance, that's what our motto is built on, great customer service.
Well, those 100 acres across from BJ's on 328th Street?
Yeah.
It's going to be a huge project there. Can we expect to see an authorized dealer there?
I'm looking into it to see whether or not it makes sense, because obviously it's in my backyard. I mean, not in my backyard, it's in my yard,
Well, we're not letting anybody else in there, I'll tell you that.
There you go. So stay away, anyone out there that's thinking about it. So
Demetrius, thank you for giving us an inside behind the scenes.
You're not getting away that easy, brother. We're going to talk about Avanti. You're not going to fill the void right now. So tell me, what made you get into Avanti? You could have chose to stay or go under someone else's umbrella. You have a plethora of persons or things at your disposal. We wanted to hear a little more about your story with Avanti. Come on, drop the dime.
No, when I had Essential Realty as my brokerage, and that was my baby, something that you built from the ground up. But I was consistently looking for, more tools that I can provide the agents, because it's very competitive out here on, how to help agents, become successful in this business. And you got to give them tools as a broker.
You got to feed the beast.
You got to give them tools, because if they don't have the right tools, they can't go out and sell. And tools, I mean, like CRMs, like, Canva,
Right.
things that they could use to
Right.
market themselves. So I had to have subscriptions to all of these other platforms a la carte, right?
Right.
And then you had to go into a different system every time you wanted to go, create something. And it was too much for an agent, a new agent that just became a realtor. And not only are they learning your system, but now they got to go learn a CRM, then they got to go learn how to design something for a flyer, and they've got to go learn who's gonna do pictures for them.
Right.
They've got to go learn how to do market research.
So they have you had to build the business.
Right.
Bottom line, right?
Yeah,
and
the
it's, even though they're under an umbrella, they simply still have to put in some work, and you have to figure out a way to make it easier for them.
Well, I would recommend the ones that I use because that was what I was using to become successful, right? So I understood those platforms. But then when they would go out and pick another platform, they would say, I'm having a hard time understanding how to do this. And I'm like, I don't know that platform. So now you and I both have to go through a learning curve. And I found that it was just very unproductive, right? So I started meeting other brokers. And other brokers, I came across Avanti Way, and he said, hey, what's going on in your brokerage that you're having some challenges with? And I said, hey, I'm having a problem with this, this, and this. And he goes, why don't you take a look at what we've built?
Right.
And I saw what they built, and I go, man, I've been trying to get there. I've been trying to get there for years. So the minute I saw it, I knew.
Was it a consolidation of all things in one place? Kind of?
Everything all in one place. It was like an ecosystem. It was like, I consider it like the Apple ecosystem.
Right.
Everything plugs and plays to it, and you don't have to get off that platform to do everything you want to do in real estate.
Wow.
Any aspect of real estate is on the platform. So I was drawn to that. I said, okay, I'm gonna give up my brokerage in order to be part of this team and this system and under this umbrella. And it's proven to be a very good decision for me and my family, because now, I mean, you can be so productive. It's almost like if you want to analyze data in real estate, you can come on this platform and it'll give you boiler room style analytics, and you can get as deep as you want, and you can be as efficient and as quick as you want using this platform. So now it helps me become more like a productivity coach, so that I can immediately help you try to get from A to B in a very short amount of time.
Right.
So it takes out all the guesswork, and it just goes, hey, if you follow steps A, B, and C, you'll be a successful realtor because everything is right here on this platform.
So give me a walkthrough. I mean, again, why should one come to Avanti Way and become an agent with you versus the other brands out there? We wouldn't call their names, but the other brands out there.
Right.
Why should they come follow you under your umbrella? Outside of you being the really nice guy and you're gonna kind of walk them through the process, walk them through the fire per se.
So some of these other brands that are out there, they make you pay high fees, in order to sign up with them and to start with them. And they also have monthly fees that they want you to pay. So think of a new agent that just got a license. They don't have a whole lot of discretionary funds to be putting out, and now they've got to get access to the MLS, which is about $1,200 a year. They've got to get their marketing stuff going, their business cards, their car magnets, their signs. They've got to get all these things in order before they even made one sale or one rental at Avanti. And first, they don't know what to do. So sometimes their training programs are not adequate to kind of jumpstart a new agent's career. Here, you have me at your disposal, and I'm giving you a blueprint. So we have this structured where you're going to have a business plan so that you never wake up and go, what am I supposed to be doing today? No, when we have a strategy session, we're going to sit down and create a business plan for you so that every single day you wake up for the next 365 days, you know what you ought to be doing. And then you have the decision. Do you want me to be that Tony Robbins type of accountability coach, or are you more hands-off? Because I want you to be comfortable, but I want to hold you accountable to the things that you're supposed to do so that you have success. Because people get into real estate and within 6 months to a year, they're out of the business because they haven't sold anything. So I'm here giving you leads. I'm giving you leads, which a lot of the other brokers do not do.
No,
they don't give you leads. I give you leads because I want to offset the funds that you've already spent to get your license, to get them to the MLS, and to, acquire that marketing material, I'm already giving you these leads to offset that. And I think that is the best way to learn when you're hands-on doing it. You can watch a million videos, but videos are not going to teach you real life how to deal with clients when you have situations that they have questions about.
100%.
So I'm with you.
So that
1000%.
great customer service. So almost any entity you run into, great customer service carries over, right?
That's right.
You look at it as, they both can sell me this piece of property. And yeah, the percentage rate may be a little different, or maybe around the same. I don't know if that's flexible anymore to what they buy or sell versus what does that number look like. But where does it start to say when a person, as a stranger coming to your office and says, I am an investor and I'm looking to buy a catalog of properties.
Right.
Is there such a thing as a catalog out there that says, hey, this is an investor, I want to buy properties. I want to buy a house a year or buy something, whatever, piece of property, piece of real estate, as they say, per year.
So that's where your experience and understanding how an investor thinks, that's where you can kind of separate yourself from the average realtor. Because an investor, they have experience in buying properties, right?
Right.
Sometimes an investor just came into some money and they go, hey, I want to buy.
Right.
But they usually want to buy one, then they
Right.
buy two, then they buy five, then they buy 10. So typically if an investor wants to buy, let's say 10, 15, 20 properties, they've done this before and they're interested in return on investment. Right. So when you are able to underwrite and analyze investments and explain it to them, that's when they say, okay, I like who I'm working with because they understand what my goals are and they understand what I'm looking for, and I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time looking at things that I have no business looking at.
Right.
So here, what I try to teach the agents, and what I do teach the agents, is you're able to speak to an investor, a luxury home first-time buyer, to the person who wants to rent a Section 8 office.
Right.
You've got all of the education in between so that you are knowledgeable in all aspects of real estate. So when that investor comes, they go, okay, this is what we're going to show you. This is what the cap rate is. This is how I think I can increase the cap rate once you acquire this property. And then once you acquire the property, do you need property management services? We've got that as well. And also, this is how you're going to reduce taxes through what we've learned in tax segregations and taxing. Well, what do you, not taxing, but
I know
tax planning. Tax planning. So all of those things are what the investor wants to hear, so that they feel comfortable understanding that this is the right group of people that are going to get them to those types of properties.
And speaking of the tax savings, I mean, obviously there's some tips and tricks that you kind of walked into that can you drop a crumb for our listeners that that you've experienced or know of someone that experienced it.
Yeah, sometimes you can be looking at social media and you hear people like Grant Cardone, and he'll say, "Oh, I don't pay any taxes." I went out and bought a Range Rover and I wrote it off. I wrote it off, for tax savings. No, but he did mention depreciation, right? And you can do accelerated depreciation when you've got a commercial building. And accelerated depreciation just means you're going to accelerate, from 27 years to 15 or 7 years, and that cost segregation study that an engineer does, because you go to an accountant and you go, hey, I want to use accelerated depreciation, and they go, well, you need an engineer to give you a cost segregation study, bring that to us, and I think what it does is offsets liability on who did the report, right? So that report, you give it to the accountant, and the report will say, hey, you're going to depreciate your building, your equipment, you're going to accelerate that, and sometimes it goes from, 50,000, 100,000, 150, 200, and you get that tax savings right then and there that year.
Right.
So now, if you owe $20,000 to the IRS, you owe $30,000, $50,000, you've just offset that. And then whatever's left over, you roll it over to the next year. So now you've got a few years that you don't have to pay taxes if you're typically paying $20,000, $30,000, $50,000. And I go, that's how they do it. So when you hear people say, oh, I don't pay any taxes, I don't pay any income taxes at all, and you go, how are these people making all this money and they're not paying any taxes? Is because they're using these tax strategies to offset those income taxes.
And those legal tax strategies, right? Because
Yeah.
no
They're
one
not
else is
loopholes. They're
right,
not loopholes. They're
those
legal.
tax
They're in
codes,
the tax
right?
code.
Right. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of tax codes out there, and that's why whenever you hear these conversations, especially during election time, right? If you want to see me pay taxes, as they say, or meaning whoever said it back then, change the tax code, right?
Yeah.
But being that there is a tax code, and it's designed for those who knows. And if you have the right accountant that goes through the nitty gritties of things and look at your portfolio and says, hey, do it this way. This is the best way I think you should do it based on your portfolio. Because there are some that have accountants on retainer, or have accountants that they only pay once a year. It's all based on your catalog, right?
Right.
So, is there any new and exciting things going on in and around the office for you?
Well, there's new and exciting things going on in Homestead. You know,
Yeah.
They got the Soleste building that's going up across from the hospital. You know, they're moving very fast. I already see
Yeah.
the buildings. I mean, it looks like they're 80% done already. Right. And I'm excited about the restaurants that are coming right on Campbell Drive.
Yeah. That's right next to my
front.
store over there. So, remember the distance thing I told you, right?
Yeah.
Technically right across the street, but nonetheless, the rents over there is special.
God, I'm excited. I'm excited about the ale house.
Yeah.
Ale house is coming there.
Yeah.
There's going to be, this is what I've heard in the past, a Shake Shack, a Carrabba's.
I want them to put an island restaurant in there, man. I've seen all the Shake Shacks, the Flanagan's, and the Miller's Ale House, and the Olive Gardens, the Longhorns. We need a good island restaurant. There's a lot of islanders down here too.
Did you notice Wild Fork made it out there too, across from Publix?
No, I didn't see that one.
Wild Fork.
Is that coming?
It's open.
No,
it's already there. It's
Where's it at?
I was driving by and I saw the sign. It said Wild Fork, and I looked to the side and I see all the
Wild
lights.
Forks is right there.
Wild Forks is like
Where your Casablanca is? Next to that plaza?
No. Wild Fork is across the street where the Starbucks is. There's Outback Steakhouse.
Yeah.
Then there's a shopping plaza next to it.
Yes.
Where the Starbucks is. Wild Fork is on the end.
Oh, they built already?
Yeah.
It's open?
Yeah.
Huh.
We're gonna
Go figure.
We're gonna have to go drive by and see what's up and have them come on our podcast.
Yeah,
and tell us how they got
definitely.
here.
We need to see, hey, what made you go on that side of town versus we're trying to bring some attention to our downtown. Yeah. And it's amazing how we still fighting the good fight. As persons know that the Redlands are right here. There's a lot of old money and new money here in downtown. It's like a few minutes away from the Redlands. So all of the residents of the Redlands I would assume has a big voice. And I know they wanted to keep it the way it was. But unfortunately, we are downtown. We need to have things that acceptable for downtown.
This building behind us is for sale.
Okay.
And it's 20,000 square feet. So we're gonna bring it to the attention of Jared Beck at the CRA. Ooh. And we're gonna see, and Leslie over there too.
Yeah. And see what they can do to help boost that. I mean, obviously, that's a nice one. That could be a nice little nightclub, or for those who goes clubbing, right? It seems like we need something for what to do downtown.
Matter of fact, when we're done here, we ought to go tell them. Yeah. We ought to go over there and say, hey, by the way, this just came up yesterday.
Yeah.
And see what kind of.
Or maybe we should bring them on our podcast. I mean, it's long overdue for them to come on to our podcast. We've been the voice of downtown for quite some time now. And we would like to bring on, whoever's out there that can help us find out some of that questions, find out some of the answers to our questions regarding why won't some of the other businesses we are investing downtown. Right. Why aren't they investing a little downtown? What is stopping them or stopping them from doing business on this side of town?
Okay. I'm going to make it a point to go see. I've mentioned Graziano's a few times. You ever been to Graziano's on the Gables?
Yes, I've been to Graziano's.
They have a really nice restaurant, and they have a restaurant marketplace. Mm-hmm. I want to see if I can get a hold of that owner and see if we can get him out here, that general manager.
Okay.
Good stuff today, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. So listen, once again, guys, we are Talk Visual 305. We're at Downtown Homestead. We have a lot of knowledge that we've acquired over the years in our prospective spaces. But most importantly, our goal, our main objective is to try to bring businesses downtown and also to leave crumbs for the next generation, that next youth that's out there that's thinking of going into business, or not even going into business, just trying to figure out a good tax saving strategy to help make them comfortable instead of having to work hard. Is either you're going to work hard now or you're going to work hard later. I would rather you work hard now so you can enjoy later. So that's part of what our podcast is organic. We love to give flowers for those who come on our podcast and say thank you to them along the way. So if you have an idea and you want to share some good tips and tricks with us, please don't hesitate to reach out to Julio or myself. We're always available to kind of drop some knowledge on them, and you guys as well. So thank you. Please like and subscribe to Talk Visual 305 on YouTube and on Facebook, on all the major platforms.